Hello friends around the world, Julie here. If you saw our first devotion before we left for our world travels, you will notice we're back at our house in Massachusetts. Being back home is a bittersweet feeling. We're happy to be back home so that we can reconnect with family and friends, but sad that our world travels are coming to an end for the moment. If you saw the first devotion, you may recognize this as the prayer jar. And before we left for our travels, Josh and I put many items in the prayer jar that symbolize the things that we were praying for prior to our journey. And I would like to take some time and reflect upon how our prayers were answered. If you haven't seen the first devotion, this is our prayer jar. And the sand in the jar represents God, Josh, and myself. The white sand represents God and is our foundation for life and what our life is built on. The green sand represents Josh, and the blue sand represents myself. They're all pretty intertwined because we're all connected. And they have multiple items inside the jar which represent our prayers to God. These intertwined flowers represent our prayer for Josh and I to be connected, that we can work together and remain strong, not allowing the forces of this world to tear us apart. During our travels, I'd like to reflect upon how close Josh and I became. We're closer than ever, and that will remain for the rest of our lives together, with such a huge blessing, and we were allowed to work together towards the devotions and share it with the world. This orange flower represents our prayer for health and vitality. Traveling can be wearing on anyone, and through 26 countries and 42 flights, we remained healthy and strong and in safe arms. This pink flower represents Josh and our prayer so that our hands can produce beautiful things. We were blessed with the ability to create these beautiful devotions and to share it with the world. We met so many people who were very happy to join in on our prayers and invited us into their homes, into their lives, and we showed the whole world how we're all connected through many things, including our faith in God. This key magnet represents our prayer for God to unlock blessings and beautiful surprises in our life. And through our travel, we have been so blessed through seeing God's amazing world and the blessings of meeting people all over the world and to creating such beautiful things with our hands and to be able to be close and connected all as sons and daughters of God. This basket magnet represents our prayer for us to create our own paradise and for God to bless our dreams. God surely blessed our dreams with allowing us to live out our complete dream of traveling the world. And that was so beautiful along our journey. And now that that chapter is coming to an end, we have all new aspirations and hopes and dreams, which include me wrapping up my licensure process for counseling and starting a family of our own. We also want to continue to work towards our ultimate aspirations of working solely for God. And once I'm pregnant, we have plans on doing baby devotions, which will include praying with your baby during pregnancy and after your baby is born. So we have so much hopes and dreams in front of us, but the transition process can seem intimidating at times. And times like this reminds me of a beautiful verse from Proverbs in chapter 16, verse 9, which states, "The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps." We are praying that God will establish our steps as we walk across this next journey. And we remind ourselves in times of doubt and fear to ward those off that God has already stood where we're about to stand, and he's our foundation. Just like all of these prayers were answered, and this was his foundation. And my prayer for you is that you will always remember that God is already establishing the steps of your lives, so you can ward off fear and doubt while working towards your goals and aspirations. Thank you all so much for tuning in and accompanying us on our world travels. Stay tuned for our upcoming baby devotion so we can continue our praise and worship of God. Thank you all, and God bless you all.